So I ain't seen no asphalt.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
How are you?
New setting. I like it. We were we've got a new little studio spot. I'm excited for it. We had Derek last week. We just uploaded that not too long ago where I was sitting just across. But it's nice to be back at the desk. You know what was interesting last week was having those lapel mics. Speaking of mics, before I go any further, you guys hear this? That's because the fucking mic's on. Do you know how you guys are hearing this podcast? Through the fucking mic, not through the camera audio.
Or a cell phone.
Not through a cell phone audio, through a fucking mic. Now listen, you guys don't have to use these things. If you're listening, I'm pointing to my mic. You can hear it. If you're watching, I'm pointing to my mic. It blows my mind that people put these things in front of them to give the appearance that they're doing a podcast. They're not on iTunes, they're not on Spotify, they're not on Google Play, it's on Facebook or Instagram. Cool. And as long as the camera, as long as the phone audio, the phone, it's capturing the audio or the camera, as long as it's capturing it decent, I don't think anyone cares that you're doing it that way.
Yeah, no one cares.
I don't know why you're going on your way to put a mic and a cord in front of you and then not use the audio. It's like you're more concerned about the appearance of looking like you're doing something versus having the authenticity and putting the effort behind what you're doing. How can anybody trust what you got to say? I don't know, man. It bothers me.
Especially when you've gone 90% there.
Yeah.
And it literally is just a matter of the last 10%.
Barrier of entry to have a real podcast, not high.
Yeah.
Getting your application sent, getting approved, getting it uploaded into the cloud. It's super not hard, right? Anyway, digressing. It was a little weird last week because last week was the first time we were trying a new setup when we had Derek on. And we were using the lapel mics. We had no headphones, no mics. And I didn't like it as much, man.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is probably why Joe Rogan maybe likes his headphones and mic. And it's interesting how hearing yourself speak just kind of puts you in the zone of like being on a pod. Right now, I feel like I'm on a podcast with you. When we were at Derek and there was no headphones, I just felt like we were dudes talking. And not that that's bad. I also feel like it helps from talking over each other.
1,000%.
Because when you start talking, I really hear it.
Mm.
Makes you pause and create some clarity. But anyway, neither here nor there. We're stoked.
Yeah.
We might change up a little bit more, but I'm liking where we're at. I feel safe now because I got my friendly guns behind me. So I got Eli.
You got your nice candle up
for
there.
me. Listen to me. This is my boy Bradley Thor. If you guys don't know Bradley Thor, if you're a chick, you do. That's the homie. He's got a candle called Non-Toxic Masculinity.
So just to clarify real quick, he's the guy that takes his shirt off and chops wood in like a sexual manner.
It's not even sexual. He's
so hot.
Yeah, it's like when a lady shows up to a dinner and like all the girls are accusing her of being sexual. It's like, no, she's just super sexy. Like it doesn't matter what she does. It's, same thing. He's got his and he doesn't wear a belt. He wears those, what do you call those, straps, or what do you put those? Goes on your pants and over your shoulders.
Like suspenders.
Suspenders. Yeah. He takes them off and fucking, I'm like,
it works for him.
I mean, I watch dude. But he's super cool, man. I've chatted with him a bit on Instagram and we follow each other and just cool dude. And I like the non-toxic candle. No, he's not a sponsor. I just love his product because it's a non-toxic candle. Yeah. The non-toxic masculinity is a play on words of him saying it's non-toxic.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Super cool. Getting into it. Good topic for today, man. We're going to be talking about how do I title this? I want to make sure I get this right. You can fill my dead space. Let's pause. Got it right here. Got it right here. Well, I got it from a friend. We're going to have a topic from a friend today. I was chatting with her and asked her what she thought. And she's talking about gratitude even through the struggle. So I'm not going to mention any names because she wouldn't want any credit for that. And it's not my place to go spelling it, but just having gratitude even through struggle. And I kind of had a title for that, what I was thinking. We'll put it on the title of the podcast, but just grateful struggles, man. She just lost her father, not too long ago. And so that's kind of where she's coming from as far as like just having gratitude for what you have had and enjoying the moments that you have had. And along with just accepting fate and somebody passing away. And when she said that, it's super relatable because Eli, you were around for my mom passing away. And I remember talking to you a couple times about the interesting dichotomy of like pain. And while I was feeling pain, I was literally witnessing myself going through a transition of maturity. And I felt like it was a transition of maturity that I could not have established without going through the loss of someone as important as my mother. Remember I talked to you about that night. It was Mother's Day. This is just before when is Mother's Day? May? My mom passed June 3rd. So do the math. Okay. It was Mother's Day and I was in the backyard. We were all hanging out with my mom inside and got some pictures and whatnot and cool. And I was sitting with my sister and one of my sisters in the backyard. She's like, hey, I think we're getting close. And I was, and this was like, my mom's probably 8 months into chemo and all that stuff. And she was stage 4 from the gate when they caught it.
Okay.
And we were in the backyard. You've heard this story. I'm saying it for the listeners. And my sister, she was like, I think we're getting pretty close. And I go, yeah. She's like, yeah. And I go, like a year close? She's like, no. Like maybe months. And I go, like my perspective on time or my barometer of how fatal something was. Because even though like you think it's coming, you have no idea how much maybe quicker it is.
Yeah.
I don't have to do the math. Mother's Day is in May. My mom passed away June 3rd. So do the math there. It's about a month, right? Or less.
A couple weeks, I think. 2-3 weeks.
And it's on Mother's Day, man. And I had been pretty good through my mom's process and stuff for the most part. The day she got diagnosed, I lost it on the phone with you. The day she passed. Lost it as in like in a what you would expect way.
Yeah.
And so I get home. It's Mother's Day. I talk to my sister. I'm like, wow. I get home. And, Tate's in the kitchen. Kiddos are in the kitchen. And I'm just not feeling it. And they're all having fun, man. Cam wasn't born yet. Cash was in the kitchen playing with his sister. And they're all just kind of doing, they're sitting at the kitchen island in the house evening stuff, and I just wasn't. And I didn't want to ruin their mood. Not that they would have felt bad that I did. They'd have been supportive, but you just don't necessarily want to change the energy of the room. I just, hey, I'm just going to go take a shower. And I went and take a shower and I literally physically hit my knees and I cried. And I just remember a little voice in my head, just like, oh, get up. And kind of like a cheerful way. So I don't know if that was my own conscience or God, or maybe that's how God speaks to you. However you guys interpret those things, those moments. And so I get up. And for the first time, and I guess how to get people to relate to this, you ever have a bad day or a bad moment or a bad phase or a bad something, and then you have like a great conversation with a family member or a friend on the phone, and you just feel better? I felt like that in the shower with myself. Like for the first time in my life, I had felt like I took myself through a cycle of emotions. And when the shower's done, it didn't change the inevitable. It didn't change reality. I just had literally taken myself through a cycle of emotions, through like the crying and just processing it. But then like, dude, that was the first time I felt mature. I don't care what I've done in life. There are some times as a cop where I've made some good decisions and felt like I've helped people. And I was proud of those moments, but I didn't necessarily feel mature in those moments. I just felt like I'm becoming a good cop. Does that make sense? I'm becoming a good cop. Or, maybe I've done some good leadership things with Marines and I made a good decision and I felt like, oh, I'm becoming a good Marine. Okay. But I always felt like it was isolated to the profession. Coming out of that shower, I was literally like, oh, this is what dads do. And I felt mature, like I was growing into a man. I never necessarily, not that I didn't feel like a man or didn't feel alpha as a cop or a Marine. Like I felt adequate at duty, at the duty I had for those, professions. This was the first time I felt like I was maturing and I was growing into a man. And I thought, man, this is what fathers do. I go back out to the kitchen after I get dressed, dried off and dressed, since we got Bradley Thor's candles, real sultry. I dried myself off very slow.
Sure.
Let that drop on me. Right. And I go back out to the kitchen and I was able to continue the evening. All good. And I wasn't bottling anything up. I wasn't pushing it down. I'm not talking about that's what dads do or that's what men do. A lot of us do. And you shouldn't. But what I'm getting at is it felt good to take myself through this cycle of emotion. Kind of and then ever since that point, a couple weeks later, my mom passes away. I have a good cry, which I felt was healthy. But then just, you've noticed a difference in me, man, of just temperance and poise, and just, even if something is a big deal, I just find a way to handle it, and not so much of a big way to handle it. And there's just some maturity that comes with it. And I think part of that is because my mom passed a torch for me, man. Like my mom was like my favorite person, man.
Yeah.
No disrespect to my dad. Just my mom and I had a bond. Not that my dad and I don't. Sorry, Dad. Mom, right?
Yeah.
And she prepared me to like no longer rely on her. But as long as she's here, you're gonna a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
As long as it's there, you know, which you should.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, like everything she had tried to help me become and be a supporter and a cheerleader. And it's like, it's crazy, man. And I understand what my friend is saying. And when she's lost her father, and it's rough and it's hard, because her father's like her person, not that her mom's not. Yeah. Just, but there's this interesting dichotomy of like the pain and the sadness, and that like, y'all literally never see you in this life again. I might have a life longer without you than with you.
Not crazy to think about.
My mom passed away 2 years ago. I was 37.
Yeah.
So depending on, I don't know how to do math for Marines. Somebody do the math. What's 37 times 2 plus 1 year?
Call it 40. I'll be 80.
So, okay. So if I lived to 80,
yeah.
I'd have a longer life without my mom than with my mom.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy to like think these things, in the next life I'll be able to see my mom, and I'm excited for that. But as much as there's like pain and some things that come with it, you also cannot help but be proud of yourself and recognize some of the maturity and some of the growth you have as a human transitioning through that. Does that make sense?
1000%.
So just having the gratitude for that, right? Like something else we can talk about. We were out with our agents last night. We've got a couple hundred agents, but we had about 15 with us last night. We do these little happy hours every once in a while. We're trying to do more of them. And typically we have training every week. Several times a week, we're training agents. And that's just you and me, dude. Yep. We love training. We love influence. If you're seeing Will and Eli anywhere, it's because we're training. Yep. We don't do a lot of what most people call fun.
Yeah. Like the,
because you and I don't make any
shit.
Yeah. Just like, hey, let's go have a beer. And I go,
yeah.
You know, I don't, because it's just, for me, it's hard to, because we're dialed in, we're focused. And this is just, dude, this is just kind of how I've been for a long fucking time. Marine Corps, police work, you name it. Leadership and responsibility and things that we're building, and how our agents rely on us to have those things and they can use them. It's just what we do, man. We're just in the grind, and we're not unhappy though. True. We really love the grind, right? But it is true of like, okay, maybe some happy hours once a month wouldn't be that bad. So we did one last night, and about 15 were able to show. Those of you that are local that didn't show, I'm gonna hold a grudge now, but it was fun. But what was really cool is we had a lot of our original agents that have been with us for like
long time,
5+ years, man. You know, they were some that made it. We had a great time, dude. We were, men are this, yada yada yada. Like, men are this because women are this, yada yada yada. Then some girl, one of our agents, pulled out her dating app, and Eli starts messaging dudes, and in a very appropriate way.
100%, yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
And as much as we're grinding, it is, it's like just appreciating the people that have been around us. They appreciate us. We appreciate them. And so whether you are pausing and identifying some gratitude through struggle of losing someone or losing something, or you started a new career and it's a struggle, or you're having a great time and you're winning and you just pause to be thankful for the people at that table. Several different ways it can come through. Several different ways you're going to feel grateful. I think it's just important to have a relationship with it. Right?
It is. And, gratitude is one of those emotions too, where, and I hesitate to even call it an emotion as much of a mindset or state of mind or something like that, because, when I think emotions, I think like good or bad, right? Gratitude, in my opinion, is neither good nor bad. It's almost like in a category of its own, right? And I saw
gratitude.
Yeah.
It's not good or bad.
Well, I feel like, because like a bad thing, you can be grateful for this like bad situation,
but
right?
Gratitude itself is a good thing.
Oh, 100%.
But you're saying it can come from a good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I kind of like put it over here on this thing of its own. And I saw this thing recently where this guy was talking about some fable, right? Who knows if it's true, but he was saying like one of the old Stoics, right? One of the guys told it was like King Saul, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
Told one of his guys, he had a big ring collection, right? And he told one of his guys to go get him a ring that would make him, when he's happy, he would look at it and it would remind him of sad times. And then when he was sad, he would look at it and remind him of happy times. So his little like assistant went and he like went on the search for this ring and he found this one that was perfect. And he came back and he looked at it and inside the ring was inscribed, "This too shall pass." And I've always thought of that in the sense of going through hard times, like, hey, this too shall pass. But it's also this good reminder of like these good times of, hey, this too shall pass.
Do you feel like good times almost by nature have to pass in order for it to like be enjoyed in the first place?
100%. That's the whole balance of the universe, the whole light and dark, good and bad.
Yeah.
There would not be good without evil. There wouldn't be
like a good time's going to pass and it not necessarily pass into a storm and now your life sucks. It's just in a sense of like that moment, like your kids. My kids are little right now. They're going to get older.
Yeah.
It's not that them getting older isn't going to be super fun. It's that them being little doesn't last forever. But the fact that it doesn't last forever is almost what makes it so valuable and so special and so fun. And typically I guess by nature, a lot of times when things aren't going well is when we try to force ourselves to remember to have some gratitude.
Yeah.
Might be more important that when you're having some great times or you're having success to just pause, appreciate that for what it is. Might even give you some perspective to just pause to identify why it is what it is, to continue to maybe stack more good times than bad, right?
That's why I really liked the whole "this too shall pass" thing, because it's like, when you are kind of, because it's easier to get lost in it when things are great, right? But just remember, hey, in a positive note, this too shall pass, and enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah.
And then also, obviously on the flip side, when you're going through hard times, like it feels like this is the rest of my life, right? When it's like, no, this is
if you let it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, and like, I mean, there's some things there. It's just interesting, like the different frames of thought of like where you can find being grateful. A lot of times when we're not doing well, we try to figure out why. You and I do a lot of things well. Now that we're starting to get pretty mature in business, I'm more curious about when things are going well, why?
Yeah.
I feel like when things are going well and you identify why, you tend to prolong and extend successful things. Does that make sense? Versus you're so happy about a great time, like great money, financial success in business, or you're a realtor, you're doing a ton of deals and like, all right, I've got gratitude. They're like, I'm really thankful for my clients and I'm thankful for God and I'm thankful for backsplashes, whatever. Cool. If you're like, is that grateful?
It's a good question.
Is there levels to being grateful? Because for me, it's like, okay, if you're grateful for it, what are you doing with it? How are you? So for me, it's like, okay, we're doing great financially. We're doing a ton of deals, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, are you identifying where it's all coming from? Are you identifying how to create a process that can repeat itself to keep that going? And how can you take what you've done and then continue the next platform of success with it?
Exactly. Yeah.
That feels like the action behind that is what's making you grateful. The reason why I'm saying this is that's how I tend to show how I'm grateful. Not that I don't tell people thank you. Of course I do. If I love you, I tell you I love you. If you're a dude, doesn't matter. If I love you, right? But I don't go to a lot of happy hours. I don't go to a lot of ball games, or maybe I don't go out and have as much fun with some of our realtors as some of the other realtors. Go have fun. And yes, that is a form of gratitude and being grateful. And I respect that. That's what we went last night. But the other form, the form that like, I guess my love language with gratitude is, you want to know how I appreciate you as a realtor? All the fucking time and money and energy and brain power toward new systems and processes and resources and ways to become successful so we can make deliverables out of those and give them to our agents at no fucking cost. That's my way of showing gratitude, is my continued pursuit of helping you succeed.
Yep.
Right. So I think it's just people have to identify how to express gratitude for themselves, but then also identify that in others. And the way that you express gratitude for yourself might be partying, might be taking a load off it. Nothing's wrong with you. But just because someone doesn't show you gratitude the way that you like receiving it or the way that you like showing it to yourself doesn't mean that it's not there.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm just trying to give some context to that because people do ask me to go have more fun. And I'm like, dude, I can't have more fun. I have like, why do motherfuckers think I'm not having fun?
Yeah.
You know, I really enjoy, and I think I identify a lot with the responsibility of leadership, dude. I have for such a long time, dude. Like I remember don't even get into it. Just my years of Marine Corps and government work and police work of just respecting leadership and the weight of making decisions, and not only myself, but others sometimes being at the demise of, is demise a negative word?
Yeah.
So not demise. Others relying on my decisions because they will be affected as well.
Yeah.
And that could be a great thing. And sometimes it's not so great, right? Like not every decision goes, but the point is like as a leader, you respect the fact that I'm going to call a shot and this is going to have effect. And it could be positive. It could be negative. It could be a little bit of both, right? Like sometimes when you're making decisions, like take extremes out of it, take police work or whatnot out of it. As you and I make decisions for realtors and what we're doing and where we're moving our business and how we're doing it, not everybody's going to like it. But it's geared toward being most effective for everyone's success. Does that mean like it's not as fun for them? I don't know. But that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is the success, or I guess their success is not my responsibility. My responsibility is being prepared to deliver opportunity for them to have success, right? But dude, that's how I show that I'm grateful for agents, is that I don't fucking quit on them.
Yeah.
Not having a beer. Not that I don't like having some fun like that sometimes. It's just important, dude, to identify like, and I guess the other reason I'm getting at this is because some people busted my balls because I worked the day after my mom passed. And I remember one of my buddies, it rhymes with Brett, right? He wouldn't care. Brett's my guy. And he called me probably 10 times, dude. And he's like, hey, man, I just want to let you know, but like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, I'm banging some shit out. And it's like, no, I just want to let you know, like, it's okay, bro. Like, you can pause, you can take a break. And like, finally, bro, after like the 5th call, because it probably wasn't 10, it was probably like 5. I was like, hey, man, what are you doing? Like, I'm good. And he's like, well, honestly, bro, I think you just seem bulletproof, man. And I almost just kind of wanted to see something break you to just know that you're a human. I was like, buddy, I promise you I'm human. I'm just breaking in a different way than maybe you break. And like, I'll be honest with you, man, I don't really know how to process my mom passing away yesterday. I don't think I have the expectation that I'm supposed to process that today. I've lost enough people in life that I've been somewhat vetted, even though I've never lost my mom. That was by far the hardest. I didn't have the expectation that I'm supposed to sit here and process this immediately and then not do anything until I've processed this.
Yeah.
At least for me, it didn't happen, dude.
Yeah.
It just didn't. But I feel valuable when I contribute. So I got back to where I'm valued, as in where I value myself, where other people value me. Because being productive was my form of cope. It wasn't my form of bottling up. It wasn't my form of ignoring it or distracting none of that. That was my form of coping. Like, it helped me get through it because I do like to be valuable. And I like to feel that I'm doing right by others, even if I'm going through something that's hard. I can't remember how long it was after it, but I had a couple days where I was able to just process more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, but a lot of me processing was just growing into a better man. It like, not this. I hope this doesn't sound insensitive, because everyone knows how much I love my mom. How do I say it? It kind of took care of itself. Like the thoughts and the memories and the growth. And you kind of know this about me. Most people don't, because when you guys hear me talking, I'm on a fucking podcast or I'm on a stage or whatever. So it seems like I just never shut my fucking mouth. That's my job, and I love it. Eli will tell you, there's some times I could not talk for a week and not see a human, and I'm good.
Yep.
I think I processed my mom very privately. Just reading a book on the back patio, and something would come to mind, and I'd just maybe put my book down for a minute and pause and just kind of reflect. I'm so happy that, like, I'm okay with me. Like, when I'm with me in the quiet, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And I felt like a lot of how I processed it happened in those micro moments. I didn't need 3 months to not be productive for everybody to do. It just kind of came as it came. I don't know. Like, is there anything that you can kind of speak on?
Well, I think, man, just
am I making sense?
100%. And I think, like, even just knowing your mom too, right? Like, I feel like she was like that herself. Like, if someone passed close to her, I feel like the next day she'd still be mowing the neighbor's yard, you know, and like just do it, like, you know, feeling the things.
My mom would mow everyone's yard. Hey, Mom, what are you doing?
Yeah.
They pay you for that? No. She just loves
I feel like that would be her.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you're not processing. It doesn't mean that you're not feeling or that you don't care.
And that's what I mean. Like, everybody has, maybe not, whether it's intentional or not, everybody tends to process a certain way. But if they're recognizing somebody not processing something in the way that they observe as processing, they think you're not.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I just want to see you break. I just want to see that you're human. It's like, it's right in front of your face, man. You just don't. I speak a different language of cope than you do.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting, right? How, like, if something's done, how we don't do it or receive it, we don't think we're completely fucking blind to it.
Yeah.
And why is that important? Because the topic of discussion today is gratitude. And there's so many ways, you know, to like show that. I think what's important is just identifying how you show it.
Yeah.
And how and where it matters to you. And I promise you, it's not like, to me, gratitude is not necessarily emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gratitude might come through momentarily in an emotion. If you're crying over a loss and you feel like a slight sense of relief because you're just, as much as you miss that person, you're thankful for what you had with them. You can kind of feel like that sense of relief, even in the middle of a cry. Or you get you win a really nice listing as an agent, and like you get that emotion like of proud and like, okay, I'm going to pay my bills, or right? Like, I think that might open the gate to gratitude. I still feel how you move on from that moment, as in when I'm proud for what I had with my mom, and I get that sense of relief in the shower and I'm crying. I think that opens the gate to gratitude. But then who I decide to be from that moment on, and who I decide to be for others from that moment on, that's going to solidify whether you have gratitude for your mom or not.
Yeah.
You get that listing. Great. What you do, somebody believed in you. Maybe you're a young agent and you got your first big listing or whatever it may be. Somebody believed in you and they gave you the shot. Cool. How you decide to go about your business from that moment on, how well you build it, how well you serve those clients and future clients, and your continuum of success is what solidifies having gratitude toward opportunities. Correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If it's only just the emotion and then you live this life of this roller coaster, we see it in entrepreneurship, man. We see it with realtors, with lenders. Obviously, you guys know in real estate, we've got a couple hundred realtors. You see it. They have these huge ups and these huge downs and these huge ups and these huge downs. And I don't know if you can identify the gratitude in there.
Well, that's where, like, gratitude's got to be the great equalizer in your life, right?
Yeah.
Because and especially when you're going through bad things, or you don't get the listing, or this bad thing happens and that bad thing happens, if you're able to look at the lesson and learn from it and be grateful that you were taught that thing so that you can make the adjustment and be successful going forward, that's, again, the equalizer, right? Finding that gratitude in bad times is we're going to bring the emotion up, and then finding the gratitude, this too shall pass. Also, gratitude in the good times can, man, just stay in level, dude.
And I love how, like, I love where you go with it. And then for me, like, I just see it in different directions. Like, another thing we can talk about. Everyone's like, you have all these coaches out there nowadays, right? Like, okay, you got to wake up. You're going to cold plunge. You're going to hot plunge. You're going to cold plunge, hot plunge, cold plunge, hot plunge, hot plunge, cold plunge, sauna. Got it. And then you're going to get to your journal and you're going to write everything you're thankful for. You're like taking the dip for
Gratitude
listen, I'm not making fun of gratitude journals, but I'm gonna turn me off. You don't like it. Not making fun of them. I think it's good to identify what you're grateful for. Okay. I just don't understand it. And I think sometimes a lot of the narrative that you hear out there is that writing it down is the completion that day. Cause here's what I'm grateful for. And I wrote it down. I just don't. Okay. For an example, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful to be a father. Let's take those hypothetically.
Sure.
Okay. But you're still overweight after 4 years. Or you're still broke. Or you don't have a plan. But you're writing these things down. Not saying don't write them down, but it's okay, how about in your gratitude journal, for everything that you're grateful for that you write down, what if that attached to that had a plan of attack for what you're going to do to show that? So you're thankful that God allowed you to be a father. Where are some areas you could work on to be the best father possible? And then focus on the practical application of that then solidifies what you're grateful for.
Yeah.
I have zero fucking hard time telling myself what I'm grateful for. I don't need to write it every day. I feel like it's just fucking in me, dude.
Yep.
And I'm working on it every day. And so, and it's not that nobody does that. I just don't hear a lot of it. I hear a lot of the gratitude journal. I'm okay, what do you do in the morning? Every day I write down what I'm grateful for 20 times.
Yeah.
And it's it gets redundant. And at some point, if that's all you do and you're not doing anything to solidify, if you're grateful for it, you should treat it better. If you're grateful for being a husband, you should treat it better. If you're grateful for being a father, you should treat it better. If you're grateful I'm grateful for my home. Look at your fucking yard, bro.
Yeah.
Are you?
Dude,
do you see where I go with that? Have you ever seen my car dirty?
No, I haven't.
I'm grateful. Yeah. That sounds so stupid. Whether it's the Lamborghini, the fucking R8, the S8, all the 8s, I got them. They're not even dirty in the rain, bro.
Here's
incredible. But it's not because it's I'm fucking neurotic and they got to be clean. It's no, dude, come to my house, look at my landscape.
You're grateful for it. You take care of it. Yeah,
you're doing landscape over 4th of July. You put a lot of work into what you have. It's I feel and because I put a lot of action behind where I'm grateful, or you'll hear me, I'll voice a lot to you because you're kind of my sounding board and voice of reason sometimes. If I'm struggling as a father or I'm frustrated with something, and you can attest to this, I literally try to talk myself into the position of I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
Because if I can identify it, I can find a way to fix it to then make it better. And I want to make it better because I am thankful I have it.
Truly.
If I'm not thankful you're in my life, I'm not putting a fucking ounce of effort into you.
Truly. Yeah.
But if I'm thankful for your friendship or for your relationship, even when I'm right, potentially, I look at where I've been wrong to figure out okay, even if I had a point, maybe I didn't handle the conversation as best as I could. And where's the pivot there? And how can I make the correction? That is all just kind of how I show I'm grateful for that person in my life, because that's the level of fucking effort I put behind it. Does that make sense?
Dude, I love that. I love the action plan behind the grateful, things that you're grateful for.
Versus being fucking Bob Simpson.
Yep.
Just writing your good shit versus the bad shit on the board, right?
One of the things I like to do is, just and this wasn't really possible before having a son, but just looking at God's relationship with us as and the Bible calls us his children, but it's fun literally thinking of us as his children.
Yeah.
Because then you as a parent, you have that perspective with your literal children. And with something like that, think of if you bought your son a car, he's 18, you buy him a dope car, right? And he's telling you every day, oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
But there's fucking French fries in it.
It looks like shit. Yeah. It's dirty. He hasn't cleaned up. And you're like, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Quit telling me you're grateful. Clean the gut. Show me.
So I'm glad you said that, because I'm wondering if maybe because they've been given so much, or you just give it to them, do they they might be grateful. Do they really understand how to have gratitude? Is there a certain level of respect that comes with gratitude? If I'm grateful, oh, cool, thank you so much. But if there's gratitude, it's you have respect for what someone's done for you to create the opportunity to give that. Does that make sense?
Totally.
I wonder if gratitude's just got so many more layers on how to accomplish it.
Well, and think of all the things that people write down that they're, thank you God for this and this. It's you're just looking at it and you're like, dude, what are you doing with that thing?
Do you know
I feel like that.
Do you ever struggle with that, talking to God?
I'm getting better at it through practice.
Yeah.
But it takes practice.
I wonder if everybody feels this way, but it's like, of course I'm thankful. Of course I have gratitude. Sometimes I have a hard time even opening my mouth to say it because I say it in my mind and I feel it. And I know I'm a good dude. I'm not mistake free, but I'm a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel like you're not even worthy though? It's like fatherhood. Fatherhood is so cool. I don't care how good of a person you are. I don't care how many lives you saved and how much amazing things you've done on this earth. Fatherhood is so cool. It's so cool. There's no way you feel like you deserve it. For me. Right? Because it's like this little you.
Yeah.
Just running amok. Doing you shit.
Ultimate.
And it's amazing. And you're like, how the hell am I deserving of this gift? And I'm not saying that from a place of like, I'm not worthy or I'm a piece of crap. No, I'm saying this is beyond the best experience. I've been able to just raise humans that are literally part me with like physical representation and you know, it's just, dude, it's fucking wild, right? It's wild. And you're like, but then the other part too is you have to realize, I think where the gratitude comes in with that is like, yeah, man, it's for you in efforts of making it for everyone. As in you're raising these kids because they have to go impact the rest of the world. So it's for you, but it's not just for you.
So
right? Does that make
truly,
sense?
yeah.
Like God gives that to you
Yeah.
in efforts of hopefully making sure like you make the world a better place because of how well you can raise these humans that God gifted you. So the gift is supposed to go through you, not to you. I've kind of talked about that before, right? Like, so it's not just about you and look at me and I got such a great kid. No, it's like it's a response. It's with that gift comes the responsibility of doing the best you can to create humans that can continue to change.
We're one little link in that chain.
You're trying to make the world a better place, one human at a time, right? So it's like, yeah, it's for you, but so is the responsibility of it.
Yeah.
But the dichotomy of both of those, it's ripper, dude. So, I think about fatherhood every day.
So how you feel about Cash and Cam and your children, right?
Yeah.
That's how God feels about us. That whole like, that's where like truly having the parenting relationship there is so fucking cool. Because every time that I felt like I'm not worthy or that I struggle to talk to God or like there's some special format that I need to talk to God in, I try and remind myself and I'm like, when would I ever not want Elijah to be able to come and talk to me? When?
No matter what he's done.
No matter what he's done.
Yeah. And like, the only thing required is like, just don't quit.
Yeah.
You're forgiven. He's there. Like, just don't quit. Don't quit on him. Don't quit on yourself. Right? Like, that's kind of like how I see parenting. That's how I want my kids to see, but then that's how it's like, maybe God says I can't speak for him, right? Like, don't quit on him. Don't quit on yourself, right? And like, it's interesting. It's fun that we get to talk. I know we got to get going because you got some showings and we got some other stuff. As you guys know, we still have day jobs in real estate and working. But as always, we love throwing these podcasts. If you guys have any thoughts on this one, throw us a DM, or if you guys got topics you'd like, I really appreciate, a friend of mine giving this topic, and she's like, I'm sure you guys have already done this one, but this is kind of really this is where I'm going through in the month. It's like, you know what? There's never not a time to talk about gratitude. I don't know if we've ever spoke to it like this. And I know if we've spoken about it before, it was prior to being fathers. And it was prior to my mom passing away. I've mentioned that, but not from a gratitude standpoint, right? So just really cool that she threw that out there and all love and respect to her family and what they're going through. But really cool that she can even, just give that and where she's at with some things that just isn't her father these past couple of weeks, but still finding, here's what's cool about gratitude. Not only is she finding it, she shared it. And then by her sharing the idea, it allowed me to like remember my own and pass it on. And now we get to share it on the podcast. That's probably the coolest part of gratitude.
How it works
is being mindful enough to not only absorb and have your own gratitude, but to share the message of gratitude, right? Because her sharing that with us lets you and I think of our own. Lets you and I share ours and share hers, express it through a podcast, and everybody listening and also be mindful of their own gratitude, and then they can pass it on. Like, really cool. Really cool. It's just, like how awesome that she was mindful enough to share that with me. So really cool. So shout out, right? But we're not going to mention names. I know that's just not the place, nor does that even matter, right? But we love you guys. We care for you guys. Until next episode, you guys enjoy your week. We will see you guys very soon. But until then, we are out of here.
Day $1.0.
You always got to say out this chair. You always got to be the maverick. I just got to be fucking Roots back here, right?
See you guys. Bye-bye.